Hello, sir.
Good day.
How's it going?
Good, you?
Good. Our intros have been longer and longer, I've noticed.
Because you keep quizzing me on weird stuff.
Like what?
Just stuff.
I'm just checking your parenting faux pas.
Check it out, Dr. Steve Brule.
And there's a lot of pauses. That 100th episode that we did, it's been a while now, but it took me like an hour and a half to go through it and edit it. There's so much pauses. You pause a lot.
Well, in my defense, you were quizzing me on a topic I wasn't ready for, so I was thinking.
For that one, yes, I suppose.
I don't pause the rest of the time.
A little bit.
Okay, so I'm thoughtful.
Okay. Yes, you're thoughtful. So daughter had an incident today.
What happened? I'm just trying to make sure there's no pauses.
You told me.
You
were the one who told me.
About the pauses?
No, about
the daughter. See how quick I'm being right now?
About the daughter. Yeah, you're being annoying.
Dude, you can't have it both ways. I'm either not annoying and there's pauses, or you get that. Yes, there was an incident at the school today.
Like American-like incident.
Yeah, kid brought a weapon to school and he's threatening to use it.
Is that bad that I said that? Sorry to any Americans who are listening.
America is known for its gun violence.
Okay. Yeah.
Like.
Now, was it a BB gun that this kid brought? Like, what kind of gun did this kid bring?
The information that I've received from the school, first of all, wasn't super telling, with no surprise.
Well, they said there was no threat.
Yeah. Cops just came in rolling with their rifles, their assault rifles.
So, yeah, the police brought in their semi-automatic.
No, the rumor, and it's unconfirmed, was that he had a gun. And someone saw the gun, which is what got the cops called.
Willow said she saw it.
Oh, she didn't tell me that.
Well, I asked her point blank, did you see it? And she said yes. She's like, I have no idea if it was loaded, but was it a play gun? Was it a BB gun? Was it
neon colored? That's the first stop. It was it was bright green. It wasn't a real gun. He was going to super soaker the dude. That was it.
Yeah. But apparently he ran away. Somehow he got notified and ran away.
Yeah, someone probably texted him and said, yo, the cops are here. And he went, well, time to go pee, and then ran.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain to her, and it's legit that she was scared. Like, she had 2 classes with this kid while he was walking around with whatever gun or weapon he had. But at the end of the day, I've had experience like this myself when I was a kid. It's always the dumbest kids. It's always the dumbest kids.
Yeah.
Like, and this isn't a comment on anything that we've seen in terms of actual school shootings. What I'm saying is the attempts at something like this when I was growing up were never successful, and it was because the kids were dumb.
Yes.
Simple as that. So to anyone out there whose child might have been the perpetrator of this that's now offended that I just called their kid dumb, I'm standing by it. You have to take a step back and be like, yeah, maybe my kid is dumb.
Well, it's interesting.
I wish I was pausing now.
Yeah, well, if you hear any background, it's because we have a special guest today.
And it has nothing to do with school lockdowns.
And has not shown up. And so I was just checking email quickly just to make sure. And sure enough, he doesn't have the link. But she was on a bus once, too, where there was like a bomb threat. Or, well, not actually a bomb threat, just the kid said he was going to.
Let me get. Was the kid a member of Mensa? Or was he some bonehead that said he had a bomb in his bag?
He was just. Now I'm pausing. Just said it out of frustration and anger.
My theory stands.
But the funny thing is, nobody believed me. Like I told you, I think, and I told Maya, and nobody believed me because I pull pranks like that all the time.
You sure do. And horrific, lifelong scarring pranks.
Yeah. But that one, like I would make that one up. That's not a good prank.
Totally. Yeah. Like someone that said that she called and had our first child in the air on the way to Manitoba or had to stop in Manitoba. Yeah, you'd never go too far with a joke.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. That's a dumb one that just some kid came on the bus and said, yeah, it's not a good one. That's realistic that people would get upset about. Okay, so we have a guest today, Jeremy Roadruck. He's creator of the Roadmap to Relationship Mastery for Men, and he's the co-founder of the Family Man Tribe. He's a husband, father, international champion, and 6th degree Kung Fu master.
Why'd you say it like that?
Well, because I always make fun of you for not being a ninja, and this guy's like a real ninja.
I'd make a joke if this was anybody else that I could take him, but 6th-degree black belt, I'd get a whooping.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And there's lots more. He's a hypnotherapist, neurostrategist, consultant. There's lots of authorships. And he really is on a mission to help dads to create strong marriages, raise amazing kids, and have live lives they love. Oh my goodness, my reading today is out the window. He's been through it all. He's been through bankruptcy. He was living in a tent in the woods, car repossession. He was kicked out of where he was living after a second lung collapse, and so there's just so many things. So he's developed strategies just to help overcome his own life, but to help others too, just to keep his mindset playful and strong. And he's happily married now, and he's helping other men live their lives the way that they want. So enjoy our chat today. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's wonderful having you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I am excited for tonight's conversation today, this afternoon, whatever time it is.
Whenever people are listening. Why don't we start off by having you introduce yourself to everybody?
All right, so hi, Jeremy, Kung Fu guy, Kung Fu master, international champion, fan of all things conflict, because a lot of times in conflict, people reveal where their truth is, and then we can build from that, because when we fight, we get real. And I'm plugged into a 1,500-year-old system, and the highest level of skill, change someone's heart, make them become friends. And if that doesn't work, maybe I can change their mind. Might not like me, but at least they understand and appreciate. And if that doesn't work, I'm sorry, have you met the wall? You guys should be friends. Bam. So we have levels to it.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. And I'm fascinated because I think that there's so many things that I would love to chat with you about. All the work you do seems fascinating. But for today, I'm just wondering about some of the triggers that our kids might push, and, how their behaviors can maybe affect some of our own stuff and what we should do about it. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So real quick, show of hands for everyone in the virtual audience. How many of you ever found yourself losing your shiz on your kids for a second, and you're spewing this stuff out of your mouth that actually is your parents, and you swore you would never say this, but under stress, that's your mom, that's your dad coming out of your mouth, and you're like in your head, shut up, shut up, shut up. That, unfortunately, is a universal experience for pretty much every parent, because most of us don't have the opportunity to do a lot of deep work on our own wounds, our own, what I call significant emotional events or moments of impact, right? Life is full contact. Life doesn't pull its punches. We get to create our meaning. We get to create the interpretation. And for most of us, the default is there's something wrong with me. We are very often raised, someone has to teach us to become a loser. Like, we're born winners. You won the first race. You got born. Congratulations. You are a born winner. Somebody had to tell us we're too loud. We're too inconsiderate. We're too much of this or not enough of that. And so we begin to pick up these belief systems, this BS that kind of follows us. And so when we have kids of our own, very often, as they are hitting certain developmental milestones, a part of our unconscious mind is reliving and replaying where we were in our lives at that age and the moments of impact that we had. And if they aren't resolved, they're just kind of existentially scabbed over. And as our kids are going through moments of challenge, our stuff shows up and we begin to overcompensate and try to protect them from the things that hurt us. Or we undercompensate and say, my parents did too much and they smothered me. I'm going to let my kid figure it out. And it's kind of a trial by fire and the kid's winging it. And that's not always a great idea either. So really, that's kind of the mechanism I've observed and experienced over the last few decades working with people, is patterns repeat until they're resolved. And then once it's resolved, something new shows up, and it can be a very uncomfortable place if you're not used to it or not expecting it, but it can also be a wonderful place of creativity because, I don't know, let's find out together. And you and your children can co-create a new way of living, a new way of being a family.
So based on your background, because, in reading your bio, you've obviously had a fair amount of ups and downs. maybe walk us through that kind of those pieces that brought you to where you are today. What were those kind of, let's say, aha moments or situations where you found yourself in exactly what you've described, and then how you kind of act out of that?
Yeah, well, thankfully for me, put that in quotes, I guess, I didn't become a dad until my late 30s. And I had done a lot of integrative work prior to that. Because if I had had kids in my 20s, that would have been really bad, because I had abuse in my childhood at 5 and 6, and a lot of anger, a lot of dominance, a lot of control, a lot of fear. I always knew the entrance and exit of every room, back against the wall. I knew everybody's personality around me because I had to be invisible to be safe, right? At 7 years old, I was playing tic-tac-toe, and if I lose, I'm going to die, is my unconscious belief. You ever play tic-tac-toe with a kid that thinks it's life and death? Because
No.
all the other kids around me pulled back because you're a freak and you're scary. And I realized that it was like, ooh, I got to throttle this bandwidth. I got to play smaller. And so I became a really good mimic and a really good chameleon. And I worked really well with the kids in the martial arts school who were struggling, because I didn't judge them. It was like, you are where you are. Where do you want to be? And so when it comes to like parenting, my daughter's being loud and she's doing something she's not supposed to. Sometimes my instinct was to like suppress that bandwidth, like just stop making noise, just totally be quiet, like because I had that, go to low level amplitude, don't be noticed, because that's the safest place to be. And it's like, well, wait a minute, this kid's a different person than me. And so I had to take a deep breath, and I had to pause and just be willing to observe. She's not in danger. She's not in danger to somebody else. She's just being loud. Okay. Let me just sit with this for a second. Is she scared? Oh, okay. Hey, kid, take a deep breath with me. And I could, as I take a deep breath, model it for her. She copies me. She takes a deep breath, and we start to calm down, because it's just, I've never had this feeling before. I don't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I had a kid in the martial arts school. We were doing laps, and he slipped on a hardwood floor, bounced his head. He's 4 years old. And mom is like, eyes as big as dinner plates, getting ready to launch out of the chair. And I stepped to block her view, and I got the kid eyes on me. And the kid looked at me and he blinked. And then he yelled, "Wipe out." And he got up and he got running again. And I realized, oh, he copied me, because when I slipped and fall on the hardwood floor and bounce off the ground, I would just yell, "Wipe out," laugh, get up and go running. He was just copying me, and it was no big deal. And so mom was like ready on the edge of panic, because, oh, my baby, he got hurt. And it's like, kids don't know. Is that dangerous? Is that bad? Is that good? Is that what is this? I don't know. I'm confused. Cool. There's a moment of impact. Let's take that out. Is that traumatic? Is that damaging? Is that, I don't know. It was an impact. What could it mean? Let's take a deep breath. As the tension goes down, it's like, oh, I survived.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that's kind of that moment of like, oh, they're just copying what we're doing. I had another 4-year-old that got mad at me about something, and he crossed his arms, and he was mom and dad's miracle baby, of course, but he crossed his arms and he stomped his foot. "I don't even know what to say to you anymore." And I was like, wow, that's a lot of words for 4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I have an idea of some things going on at home, quite possibly. But it was like, oh, you're not okay with that. Tell me more. And I don't have to take that as like, how dare you disrespect me? It's like, nah, he's just telling me where he is. Cool. And what do you want to do with it? Where do you want to go with it? Those are ways to kind of de-escalate that situation. We don't have to jump into knee-jerk control. Let it breathe for a second. It's cool.
We talk a lot about that, just the dependency traps that we create for our kids. And a lot of it is, I mean, social referencing is from a very young age, they're checking in. Is this okay? Can I go explore? Once they start learning to crawl, is this a safe person? They're checking in with mom and dad. And so even I always go to anxiety, just because that's my focus and my area of interest is the anxiety piece. So they start creating these fear stories based on, a spider is just really interesting until mom screams and freaks out. Now it's terrifying and the world is terrifying. And
Yep.
they become dependent on us to figure out how the situation is, how I interpret it, how do I feel about it. And so I love that pause. Like your example was beautiful, because he had to think and process it and what's
Right.
next. Wipe out, right? There's a great TikTok. It's the one with the little guy. He's like 3 years old. He's on one of those Strider bikes. I share it in all of my presentations. And it tips over and his arms are straight out for like 5 seconds. And then the dad goes, uh-oh. But the dad's not swooping in. Like he's just letting exactly what you did, just processing. And then like another 5 seconds, the little boy slowly like gets off of the bike and then walks a few steps and then very slowly lays down on the ground. Right? Like this should be a thing, but nobody's telling me how I should, like it's supposed to be an accident. Nobody's telling me what to do. And so that process is so beautiful, like where you just give them that time to process it.
Yeah. Well, there's the clip I remember, the toddler who like falls and the parents are filming it and then they like leave the room and the kid gets up, stops crying, gets up, follows them in the other room, falls back down, starts crying. They move to another room, stops crying, gets up, walks into the third room, falls down, starts crying. It's like, I know how to play the game. I wrote a book on games worth winning, right? There's an old book. It's called Games People Play, and it labels and breaks all this dysfunctional stuff. It was written in the 70s. It's out of the transactional analysis. My dad read that book, and it tells you how to break dysfunctional games, but it doesn't replace them with anything better. And I'm like, but okay, I'm playing the yes, but game. Labeling it does nothing to tell me how to do something better. How do we create a game that we both get to win? And that kid had a game. If I fall down and cry, I get love and connection and comfort. Cool. I know how to make that happen on my terms. And they'll just continue to run that pattern. Like people want to tell me, oh, kids are lazy or people are lazy or people don't want to work. I'm like, no, human beings are efficient for a given system. And if you want someone to take a larger action, you have to add more variables to the game they're playing and couch it in winnable terms that there's now an incentive for them to go win that game. Right? The American dream is to retire and have a place to live. Cool. So you mean I don't have to work and I get money to exist? Then there are economic structures people can get themselves into where I don't have to work and I just get money for free. I won.
Yep.
Oh, we have to redefine what that American dream is in quotes. We have to define that on a larger scale of like self-respect and self-worth. No. I have free money and I have a place to live. I won. That's it. And it's like, oh, no, crap. That game collapses if we extend it long enough. Because if everybody does it, oh, nobody's working. That's a problem. So it's like, it's not people being lazy. We're just being efficient. So cool. How do we expand our model to be more robust and more sustainable? And the more we game it, the better it gets. If I help my wife to feel warm, big, and happy, who loses? And if she helps me do the same, and if the kids are like, hey guys, you're asking mom and she's snapping at you, do you think she's warm, big, and happy inside or not so much? What have you put into her today versus asking from her? How could you fix that? How could you get a different result? How could you be a participant in your own solution?
Right.
And I'm not telling them how to think it. I'm telling them the structure. Here's the ladder you can climb. You get to choose your adventure. Maybe you need to get yelled at today. I don't know. I don't want to get yelled at. So I'm going to figure out how to add energy to mom.
That's a great approach, because I'm always saying, like, how do you need to get your mom off your back? What do you need to do differently? But anyways, that's different. No, I would prefer, I'd prefer to work with parents first. And what do you need to change so your kids aren't freaking out? So where do we start? Yeah, exactly. So where do you want to start? Should we focus on like parents knowing what those triggers, but like self-awareness?
Yeah. So here's how we begin to change that, right? First step, awareness. That's it. No judgment, no should be, would be, could be, because shoulds are rules, and that's later. But first step is just awareness. And it's awareness of what, right? So you guys try this at home. Everybody listening, you guys try this right now. Shoulders back, head up nice and tall, sit up in your chair, and then say, I feel terrible.
I feel terrible.
Yeah, do those words and that body posture match?
No.
Now round your shoulders, put your chin in the hole, look down at the floor, and say, I feel wonderful.
I feel wonderful.
I feel wonderful.
And again, do those words match? And then shoulders back, head up one more time and say, I feel wonderful.
I feel wonderful.
Oh, right? Wonderful. Yeah.
So this is positive energy when you feel warm, big, and happy inside. Negative energy, you feel small, sad, cold inside. Which do you prefer? And I ask that question because I have some people that say they like feeling all smushed down. Okay, cool. We need to address that because you have a right to exist. You have a right to your own autonomy. And if you feel good being all smushed down, there may be other factors at play. But the awareness is this: positive energy or negative energy. More big, happy, small, sad, cold. If something is going on with you, with a family member, with yourself, that is moving you towards feeling small, sad, and cold, that's something to be aware of, because if that's where you gravitate to, there's something here we need to deal with. There's something here that's causing conflict, impact, stress, doubt, fear, insecurity, all these labels. But I've worked with kids as young as 3, and it's just warm, big, happy, small, sad, cold, positive or negative. It's real simple. That's the first awareness, because you can't change something you don't know is going on. As long as something stays in the unconscious, it will run and ruin your life, and you have no clue it's happening, even though it's blatantly obvious to everyone else. So stress with your kids, stress with your partner, stress with yourself, stress with your parents. Cool. Write that stuff down. Give it an amplitude, 0 to 10, and you could go 0 to negative 10. How much does this weigh on you? How bad does this feel? Not to make it worse than it is, but just to be aware and go, ooh. Because if something happens between me and my wife, me and my kids, you're allowed to say, ouch. Oh, that didn't land for you? Okay, well, what happened? And key word, what happened, not why. Because what pulls us into strategy, and it's a ladder we can climb. Why gets into story and rationalization, and it's a form of hypnosis. And all stories are true, but only some of them actually happened. So what happened? What was the impact? What was missed? What did I say? How did you receive it? How could I have said this better? How could I have said this more thoughtfully or more considerately? That gets us into the strategy to start affecting change for each other, with each other. But it always comes from awareness first. Awareness is a key that opens a new door. You don't get to define how something lands for somebody else. You can define, well, here's what I meant, and that's on your side, the intention, and here's how I communicated it, and again, that's yours. But how they received it is the only thing that matters. But that's not how I said it. Okay, I hear what you're telling me. This is how I received it. For good or for bad, this is how it landed for me.
I love using like optical illusions, and especially ones like there's a Charlie Chaplin one where you watch and it's a mask and it turns and you never actually see the concaved mask. It always looks like it's the convex, because we've never seen a concaved face before. And so our brain doesn't interpret the 2D image. And same thing with the McGurkin effect. I don't know if you've heard of that. I think I've talked about it, but it's what you see overrides what you hear. I can put the link into the show notes as well. So if you hear the sound ba 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 ba, but the man is, moving his mouth like he's about to say an F sound, all you're going to hear is fa fa fa, even though it's a ba sound. Mm-hmm. And so what we see overrides what we hear, which oftentimes kids will say, stop yelling at me. And we're like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not even angry. But right. What they see, there's something that they see from you. Maybe it's you standing over them, looking down at them. Something about how you're presenting yourself overrides what they're actually hearing to make them believe that you're yelling at them. So I think that that's important that you talk about that, because just because what actually happened doesn't mean it's perceived that way. So
well, and that right there, you're saying something to your kids and it may be in a stronger tone or maybe a whatever, because we forget like how big we are. I'm like, hey, parents, every now and then just go, next time you're shopping, get on your knees and walk around, and all you see is butts everywhere. That's the average kid's view. Like, it's really boring. So of course they're going to run away. But if your kid says, stop yelling at me, be like, hold on, pause. Thank you for the feedback. On a scale 0 to 10, and 10, the glass is going to shatter and explode all over the house, and I'm not at a 10. What level would you say I'm at? Because again, we go back to the awareness, right? Because we can sit here and argue. Well, I'm not yelling at you. You want me to yell at you? I'll freaking yell at you. It's like, no, I'm already overloaded. Why would you take it up even more and overload me even more? That's useless. But kids don't have the wherewithal to say all of that. Or if they did, they're going to get even more consequences. So it's just, as the adult, we realize the feedback, right? There's no resistance in communication. There's only feedback. And if you're not landing for the person, cool, that's calibration, adjust. I'm not perfect at that by any means, but when they're pushing back on you or they're giving you that you're being too loud, you're being too this, that, okay, pause. What level do I sound like to you? Because I want to know how this is landing for you. Because I'm at a 4. No, it's like an 8. Oh, okay. So if I go down to this, does this feel better for you? What is this? Is this like a 6? Well, no, that's like a 4. Oh, okay. Now you have, you know, the chunk for your child versus the chunk for you, right? Human perceptive wise, supposedly we can hear a pin, a needle being dropped on a hard floor at 30 feet in a perfectly dark room. That's like our perceptive range, the quietest sound we can hear to the loudest sound. It's like a log 10 scale. We can see like a candle flame at 30 miles in a perfectly dark night. But how many people are really at that edge of their perceptive field versus they're in the flow of life and impact and, well, I know what I'm saying and you're disrespecting me and you're being defiant. Maybe, or maybe I'm just feeding back. I'm scared and I'm feeling small, sad, cold, and I can't hear you. I can't hear what you're saying because the tone is so loud.
Well, and we know too, if they're feeling threatened in any way, sensory perception kind of goes all wonky and they can only hear lower sounds like a tiger who's about to eat us. And so literally they're picking up all of the other sounds. So if you're like, listen to me, you're not listening to me, they probably literally can't even pick up on your voice because they've kind of gone into that fight flight. So, I mean, we could talk forever about all of this, but because it's so fascinating. Yeah, it's so fascinating. I don't know if there's anything that you...
No, I just took away that when I yell, I'm like a tiger at my kids. That's what I took away from this bit. Is that right? That's it? Okay, cool.
I'm going to eat you if you don't listen.
100% legit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just a matter of us being able to take that step back, because the kids can be such fantastic barometers if we're willing to listen to them. And it's great that they're using their words, even if they're screaming, "You're the worst parent ever." Hey, they could be biting. They could be destroying the house. Them using their words is two rungs up the ladder. So for me, it's like, hey, dude, thanks for telling me. So I think that's important. And I usually often will tell parents, even just focus on like a time, like from 5 to 5:05, even if it's just 5 minutes where you're setting your alarm and because that's the witching hour, I find, is usually either getting out of the house in the morning, dinner time, or bedtime, right? So pick one of those times just to start bringing more intentional awareness. So what would be next out of all of that?
First step, we've got awareness. We're starting to measure emotional impact on each other. Warm, big, happy, small, sad, cold, positive 10, negative 10. Okay, cool. Now, are there areas of your life that you feel you have to protect your children from? Are there things you've been through that I can't tell my kids that? They can't know about that. Okay, that's fine. Probably at some point they will need to know that, because there may be lessons in there and benefits of things you could share. But my kid's 4, I don't want to tell them about, abuse. I have a client who is trafficked, and that's not something she wants to tell her kids. Her mom trafficked her, and so like she's going to protect her kids from that experience. Awesome. But please understand, if you have a wound or an area that you have to protect, then please understand, part of your energy, vitality, consciousness has to keep running a check to keep that tamped down. Don't talk about that. Don't talk around that. Stay away from that. So you've got edges that can get flared up from TV shows, from music, from clothing, from all these what seems to be non sequiturs. It seems to be just random stuff, but you've got all these attendant attachment points that are connected into that wound. So just be mindful, and it may be worth it to document it in some place that they can't ever access, just for your own clarity. Here's what happened. Here's how it made me feel. Here's why I felt powerless. Like being able to just like do a data dump of the emotion and the constructs, the memories, as much as you can, just to have it outside of yourself and look at it, because then I don't have to protect it as hard. And a lot of times when we document things, we write things down, we express things, just taking it from inside of ourselves out can be a first layer of control to say, this is a thing that actually happened, instead of it's just some wiggly thing inside my head. Maybe I made it up. When you begin to put it out, down on paper or down onto a construct, write it in some place, whatever, but it's now something separated from your sense of self. It's no longer I put myself into this. It's this thing happened to me, and you're one step removed from it. You begin to build a little bit more control. And your kids don't need to know all the gory details of everything in your life anyway. But there are things we need to be careful of, things we need to be aware of. And as you get older, I will guide you through it. Just setting that pre-frame can take your own tension down, because then you don't run into overshare, emotionally embedding into them, projecting like you need them to validate you or love you through something, like have them reparent you while you're going through this thing because you're regressed. Like there's all this messy stuff that could happen. And if you're in a place where you do have big, scary things showing up, absolutely get support. Do not go through this alone. Just having that third party person reflect it back can be so powerful and so helpful and so healing, because you weren't crazy. This never should have happened. And there are ways to heal the impact. You can't change the past, but you can change the meaning. So just being aware of your own stuff makes it easier to stop being as hair trigger or as overly defensive or overly protective, right? I had some very bad things happen to me at 5 and 6, 2 different continents. And all of that stuff has been dealt with and healed and integrated and released. And I have no qualms talking about it. But I'm not going to go run to my 9-year-old who is watching a show on TV and say, oh, I had something like that happen to me, and then there was this big, huge thing. It's like, nah, she's 9. It's cool. We will get to that. My 15-year-old or 14-year-old, same thing. We will get to that as we progress, as he is showing the interest and the capacity to handle larger stories. He's asking about things he's seeing in the social media world, television, movies. His consciousness is up on a higher level. Then I can share a little bit more, but I don't need him to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how we begin to because we sometimes stopgap and try to run and protect our kids from stuff we went through. They may take it entirely different because they had us as a foundation that we didn't have when we were their age or we were going through their experience. Mm-hmm. And so that can be it's hard to see in the moment because we're living it, but it's like, allow your kids to lead some of this conversation or let their curiosity open versus, well, you ask this one question, I have to data dump everything I know now. Breathe. It's okay. Slow down a little bit. You've got some time.
Right. So the awareness, and I do expressing it. Mr. Rogers says, if it's mentionable, it's manageable. Right. Mm-hmm. And so however we do that. Yeah. So what's next from there?
So then the fourth part, really, you start getting into like I said earlier, all stories are true. Only some of them actually happened. And so you don't necessarily need to go into the weeds of all the gory details of whatever it was you went through, but you can have a highlight reel. You can have key points to take away, key lessons learned, how to prevent this from happening, right? In my case, I went out at a very young age and I played in a place I should not have been. I went past the security gate. Something happened with security guard. I put myself in a situation at 5 years old. I didn't know any better. So in our family, my daughter, I was raised on a leash because I ran into traffic. I'd have been dead at 4. My daughter was raised with a leash, like a little harness, a little backpack thing. And when she wanted to go for a walk at 3 years old, she'd go and get it and give it to us and be like, let's go outside and play. Yes, ma'am, we're on it. And so, hey, you can't see over the top of a car yet. You're going to have to hold mommy and daddy's hand in the parking lot till you get taller. And now she's 9 and she's still a little small for her age. Babe, can you see over the top of the hood of every car? No. Okay. We're going to hold a hand until you're a little bit taller. Once you hit that milestone, cool. But it's putting it into a context that they can understand. Here's why we do some of the things we do. There may be a bigger conversation to it, but for us, it's having strategies and having answers and putting things in place ahead of time. What guidelines can you have? What standards can you have? What family rules can you have? And we create family rules. Like my daughter has suggested them. My stepson has suggested them. Like the kid's like, hey, I want to put a family rule out. Okay, tell me more. No more packing the morning of a flight at 3 a.m. I think that's a good rule. I think you have 2 stressed out parents, and mainly it's dad's responsibility to not do that because mom is way more schedule aware. So I think that's a dad lesson. But yeah, that can be a family rule. Thank you for throwing me a bone, kid. And we can be playful and creative as we build a stronger, more stable, more open and loving relationship with our kids. We don't need to go into this unresolved stuff. I have to dominate, and I have to control, and I have to have all the answers. Breathe for a second, dude. Like, just pause. What's really going on? How can I give them certainty? How can I give them clarity? How can I give them guidelines so that we're not just shut up and do it because I know what I want?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah. Well,
that give a good helpful kind of a sequencing.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I think it really comes back to, like, in your family, it sounds like you've created that open environment where we're collaborating and we're openly talking about things without judgment. And I think that that's such a key piece that parents really need to learn. So,
that actually, yeah. Can we just like pause for a second and take the word judgment and just throw it in the trash?
Yeah.
Because if you want to influence people, you need to have rapport, and to have rapport is create mutual liking. You can't have rapport with someone while you're judging them. Right? How many of you in the audience have had somebody who is telling you the exact right thing to do, but they think you're an ignorant baboon, and you have no way you're never going to listen to what they say because they're a jerk face. Because they're so busy judging you, even though they're right, you don't care. I will do this wrong just to spite you. And it's because of that judgment. But that doesn't mean, well, what do I do if I'm not going to judge? Cool. Just replace it with evaluate. Because you're taking whatever that thing, whatever they're doing, demonstrating, saying, wanting, needing, desiring, pushing, whatever the thing they're putting out there, you're going to evaluate that for attainability and sustainability in your own life. Does that fit? Is that congruent with where we want to go, with how we operate as no, I don't think that really works. But thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. I hadn't thought of it that way before. And I don't think we're going to continue doing it that way, but that's definitely one way to do things. Cool. Thank you. And if you stay in that place, it's really hard for people to get mad at you or not like you because you're not agreeing, but you're not making them wrong for whatever it is they're doing. You're just evaluating for the ecology. You're evaluating for the sustainability. And you go, oh, yeah, I like that. We're going to steal that Kung Fu. That's way better. That's way smart. I love that idea. Thank you. And you can be appreciative. You can say yes, no, thank you. And you can say yes, absolutely, thank you. Either way, we're still friends. We're still able to have that open flow. So we just get rid of judgment, but we evaluate, and then we create guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I see that with parents, that it's like you're judging your kid as being wrong. Cool. How's that working for you?
Yeah.
They're like, oh my gosh, you're so right. I shall do it your way. Verily thus.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, there's so many pieces that we could probably talk more about. I have all of your information in the show notes, but just for people who are listening right now, where's the best place for them to find you?
Best place is pretty much on Facebook is where I'm the most active. I've got some stuff on TikTok and YouTube. Ladies probably will enjoy TikTok more. Gentlemen will probably enjoy YouTube more. That seems to be the stats of who's listening and watching. But primarily, I'm the most alive and active and engaged on Facebook. And I am the only Jeremy Roadruck on the internet. There's only about 300 Roadrucks on the planet, so I'm not hard to find in the slightest.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was awesome.
My pleasure.